Well, getting close to the holiday season, I'm used to being alone. It's been like that for most of my life, but I was remembering, I was remembering an instance where my family came to visit me for Thanksgiving. It was my mom and I believe it was my mom, my brother, my mom, and my niece, and they came in, and my mom was like, "Man, what's wrong with these guards, man? They're acting all shitty with me and treating me like shit." And it's things like that I feel guilty about because I wonder if if this whole thing, like those things were my fault, for me speaking up. If uh like my family uh had to catch the bad end of the stick for it. It's hard enough to have to be away from them, because I don't feel like it's safe for me to be hanging around them all the time, knowing that there's people after me, like I don't know, maybe gang members, maybe a motorcycle club, or maybe somebody with badges, that believe they're above the law. Um, but it's not uncommon for visitors to be humiliated, um, just so the officers can get a laugh. You know, hitting on people's women, wives with their kids there. Making disrespectful comments. I'm all one for, I'm a flirt and shit like that, but, when it comes to being professional, when it comes to, working and, um, holding a higher standard, you shouldn't be getting at these people's wives that and family members been spending fucking 4 or 5 hours in line, having to jump through hurdles and, like fucking dog training just to get a visit. Excuse me. Um, Much less being disrespected and catcalled and and making sexual overtures, um, you know, to people's family members. Come on, man, you gotta be the lowest of the low if you're over here hitting on a prisoner's wife or mom or sister. Come on, it's plenty of fish in the sea, and you had to come here to 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 do that. It's probably not even about catching them. It's just probably about disrespecting the inmate, getting on his nerves, pushing his buttons, and seeing how far they can get. You know, before they have to back up or back down. Just to lay in wait and do it again. Because if they're not, if they're not reprimanded or there's not actual, they could be reprimanded, but if there's not anything that actually happens, I'll give you a little talk and a little slap on the wrist, and then I'll give you a slap on the ass and give you that good boy after I give you that bad boy speech. It's like, how is there ever going to be change? And it starts from the top. Uh, Whether you want to believe it or not, there's people that know what's going on in these prison yards. Matter of fact, the prison yard I came off of last, when I came to the other side, had a lot going on in there. They shut down the prison one day just to do interviews. I don't know if it was district attorney or who it was, doing multiple interviews on a lot of people getting injured and people's teeth getting knocked out, hair getting snatched out, um, people getting dragged off the stairs with their fucking heads bouncing down the stairs and shit. Like, this shit you wouldn't believe that happens, but in real life. But it happens in the other world, in that world that you guys don't get to see, because they're not guarding our safety. They're guarding our communication between you and our families and them. They're trying to keep us as isolated and as secret as possible, keeping us away from from our family members and from the outside world. To what purpose? I mean, use your imagination. You'll probably be right. You know, um, if there's something, if you smell something wrong, most likely there is. And I could tell you for a fact there is, and if we continue letting them get away with it, we continue letting giving them the power to persuade Congress members, senators, however that works. You give them this power where they have so much money, where they're controlling the laws that are going down in the state of California, where I come from. Um, but I'm not there right now. Uh, Things are just gonna they're just gonna get worse. There's an old old saying that we have in California. Everybody always says it like, hey, pretty soon they're gonna build a fence around California, right? And it's a joke, but it's not a joke because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to lock up as many people as possible because it's the fucking cash cow system. And people's pockets are getting slit, getting stuffed, and it's the wrong people. You have all this money, and you're stuffing it in your pocket to go buy toys and go on lavish um, vacations and stuff. But what about the poor people? What about giving back to the community? Um, you know, you know. There's plenty of times I watched a lot of TV and while being down, and I never seen the officers union doing charity work. I'm sure they have, but if you're not doing enough, where it's not coming up on your local TV station, like, come on, man, there's something's got to be going on there. Where's all this fucking money going? Where are all these taxes going? So it's food for thought. You have to think about these things, and it might not affect you right now, but it starts at the bottom. It's like a tree. It's a seed that grows, and it starts at the bottom where they're taking advantage of the lower class, and then once they're finished with the lower class, where do you think who's next? The middle class, and then once they take over the middle class, well, who's next? You're next. If you weren't already affected, you will be affected, and it's a domino system, and it might take years to get to you, but you could stop it from getting there if people would take action and take notice now, because it will happen, and it happened because you're letting it happen, because we're letting it happen. And so, it's something to think about when you see something on TV and you're like, or the violence that's happening around us, and you're like, well, it doesn't affect me. Well, it doesn't affect you right now, but it will affect you, and it'll have effect on you, and it'll have effect on your children, and then after, no much how much money you have, you won't be saved. So think about that.